So I'd like to call the July 27th Village Board meeting to order. Would you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
United
of
States of
America
America,
and to
and
the
to the
republic
republic
for which it
for which
stands,
it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty
with
and
liberty and
justice
justice
for all.
for all.
Okay, Charlene, roll call, please.
Okay, this evening we're starting with Trustee Kwasniewski. So Kwasniewski,
Present.
Maher,
Here.
McClafferty,
Here.
Snigowski,
Here.
Stapleton,
Here.
Kittredge.
Here.
Okay,
Great, thanks, Charlene. All right, next up, consent agenda, and thank goodness it's a short one. We only have the July 13th Village Board meeting minutes along with the approval of disbursements. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved, Snigowski.
Second, Maher.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Snigowski, seconded by trustee Maher to approve the consent agenda. Any questions or comments on this, gang? All right, roll call, please.
Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Maher,
Yes.
McClafferty,
Yes.
Snigowski,
Yes.
Stapleton,
Yes.
Kittredge.
Yes.
Okay, motion approved. All right, next up, we have the mayor's report. We just have a few things that I need to share with you. So on July 15th, the governor announced that the Restore Illinois regional boundaries would be modified to follow the Illinois Department of Public Health's 11 emergency medical services regions. Instead of 8 regions, there are now 11 regions. And we are now in region number 10, which is the suburban Cook region, which means the city of Chicago is its own region, which is number 11. So that is very good news for the Chicago suburbs, considering we're now separated from Chicago and obviously we have more in like with our fellow suburbs. As we all know, this virus has not gone away and we still must continue to do our part to reduce the spread. We ask that you continue to wear face coverings when inside and when social distancing of 6 feet cannot be maintained. The governor and Illinois Department of Public Health's mitigation plan includes a deliberate plan that will utilize several layers of mitigations to combat a resurgence of COVID-19 and prevent uncontrollable spread organized by risk level. Again, we do not want to revert backwards. So again, please continue to do your part to reduce the spread. Listen up. We have some very exciting news from the office of Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas, I should say. The second installment of the Cook County property taxes are due August 3rd, and it was announced today. The due date has been extended 2 extra months to October 1st with no penalty. So the second installment of your property tax bill is now due on August 1st. Also, the Lamont Park District continues to have drive-in movie nights. Advanced registration is required. Please visit their websites for dates, times, and registration. The Centennial Outdoor Aquatic Center is open and adhering to guidelines. Advanced registration is required. Please visit lamontparkdistrict.org for specific information. The Lamont Cruise Nights continue to take place each Wednesday from 6 to 9 p.m. in downtown Lamont and continues through August 26th. Visit myhcba.com for more information. This is an outdoor event, so please remember to bring and wear your face covering when you are not able to maintain 6 feet of distance from others. Lastly, census takers began visiting homes this month of those that have not yet responded to the 2020 census. They will be wearing face coverings, following local public health guidelines, and have a census ID badge when they visit your home. Their goal is to help you and everyone in your home be counted in the 2020 census. You can complete your 2020 census by phone, online, or by mail. So please visit my2020census.gov to complete the online form or call. If you want to do it by phone, you can call area code 844-330-2020. Again, area code 844-330, the year 2020. All right, next up, we have the clerk's report. Charlene, you want to take over?
Sure. First of all, before I begin, I'd like to mention that at the Village Hall, at the front desk, there are available at this time mail-in for applications for the mail-in voting. What you do is you fill out the form, and then you will get, it's an application, and then they will mail you the actual ballot. If you'd like to do that, you can pick one up at the Village Hall on the front desk, or you can always contact them and do this by email or online with the Cook County Clerk's office, and just go to the Cook County Clerk's office online, and then there's a space for that, and you can just get it sent to your home, and you fill out the form online, and you can get it sent to your home. So I wanted people to be able to do that, because I understand a lot of people would rather do that, even though we don't know how the COVID-19 will be at that time in November for voting. But actually, if you'd care to do that, or you need to do it because you'll be out of state or whatever, you may do it either way. Contact online or pick up at the Village Hall. And now I'll begin with the proposed resolutions for this evening. The first one is Resolution R-30-20, and this is authorizing the approval of an emergency water connection agreement with the Franciscan Sisters of Chicago.
Okay, need a motion, please.
Moved, McClafferty.
Second,
Seconded,
Kittredge.
Maher.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee McClafferty. I think I heard trustee Kittredge to second it.
Yes.
With that being said, George, you want to fill us in on this?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The village was recently awarded a federal grant to run a water line on Main Street from Fordham Hills all the way out to Walker Road, generally with a couple other stubs that'll be alternates on the project. The project is in engineering. You can see the plans here on the screen here today. It should be bid in September, and then for a 2021 construction. So moving forward with that project, but one of the minor items associated with it is one thing we wanted to do, and talking to Ralph and Jim Kankar, is create an emergency connection agreement with Franciscan Sisters. They the site for Franciscan already has village water, obviously, but receives its water from the south. This would allow for an alternate connection in the event of an emergency. Emergency only, and again, it works both ways. If the village had a problem on its line, or Franciscan had problems with their lines, we could tap into it and help each other out. And just overall general water quality, having a loop system is always preferable to not having one. So a win-win for both sides. And I want to thank the sisters for moving forward with this agreement, and just getting it in place today allows it for it to be included with the engineering agreement. And Mike Stillman, if he has any other comments, he drafted it, and yeah, we should be good to go if we get this approved to move forward with the project.
I don't have anything further. You
Okay.
summarized it well, George.
Thanks, George and Mike. With that being said, do any of the trustees have any questions regarding this? Okay, so no questions. Can we have a roll call, please?
Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Maher,
Yes.
McClafferty,
Yes.
Nagowski,
Yes.
Stapleton,
Yes.
Kittredge,
Yes.
Okay, motion approved.
The next resolution, if passed this evening, would be Resolution R-31-20. And this is authorizing the approval of Phase 1 engineering agreement proposal with the Knight Engineering and Architects Incorporated for the Walker Road Extension Project.
Okay, need a motion, please.
So move Staples.
Second, Snagowski.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Stapleton, seconded by trustee Snagowski. Mark or Jason, are you out there? Do you want to handle this?
I got this one too, Mr. Mayor. And the next three items are generally related, but I'll go through them pretty quickly. Talked about this at the committee of the whole meeting last week. The village is looking to create a new railroad crossing at Walker Road. And it's been in the works for the overall project, or idea has been in the works for about 2 or 3 years now. Originally, it was a project started by the Forge, although the village was always heavily involved with being the agency going through the ICC process to receive the crossing. But the project did stall many different factors, and it worked with the Forge to move forward with a new entrance to the Forge for phase one, to get them open a little bit earlier than having to wait several years for a railroad crossing. So the village picked up the ball and ran with it probably about 6 months ago now, right when I would say COVID hit. Started to look at different opportunities, working with Knight Engineering. They're very involved with other projects involving the railroad, and we've started to come up with some creative solutions. This is going to be in order to move forward with further analysis and design and even funding requests, we will have to move forward with a phase one engineering funding agreement, or engineering agreement. That's what's on the agenda here tonight. I should note that we've already applied for funding for future phases of engineering and construction. We received a letter from the ICC in support of the project and in support of providing funding for a solution. So we're chipping away at receiving those funding opportunities, but we will have to engineer it. One thing that we mentioned last week, the project, due to guidance from the ICC, and may end up having to be an overpass solution. So we're working with all the players on trying to look at that. But again, just following the lead of some of our partners who are going to help fund the project. And all those details will be evaluated during phase one engineering, which will take every bit of a year. It's a really complicated project. We'll get all the players involved. We've already worked with several entities at Canadian National, ICC, Metra, IDOT. This project is moving, but this is the first formal step to finally move forward with the project. Phase one engineering, the cost of the project is not to exceed amount of $491,000. That's the contract here for you today. I should note, while we'll have to fund phase one engineering, there is an item later on in the agenda to potentially recoup those costs in the event the village move forward with other development opportunities in the area. With that, since we covered it last, but I see one hand up, but I did want to make mention that our project engineer is on the call here today. If you have any questions for him or me, but I'll maybe turn it back over to the mayor. Rick Snagowski does have a question, so.
Real quick, Rick. So George, I mean, two things to add to this project is that we have had some safety issues out there. We've had some tragic incidents, granted, on crossings that are not owned by the village, but basically this overpass, if it does come to fruition, if that is what is, eventually, designed and approved and necessary, it does eliminate a crossing or two, which gets us, again, for a quiet zone, if you kind of do the math, a quiet zone, I think all in, for all our crossings, could be upwards of $2 million. I mean, you're eliminating two. So, I mean, bottom line is if if this does go through, we do get quiet zones, it kind of eliminates two of those. So that's one way of looking at how we can recoup it, but we'll talk more later in the meeting. So with that being said, go ahead, Rick.
I don't really have a question. I have more of a comment, which puts things in a pretty clear perspective here. And then I see Clayton's on there. He could have give you more information if somebody has a question. But bottom line is, we talked a bit about the overpass situation. I talked to some friends of mine. When you go with an overpass, you eliminate the need to manage water that obviously goes into the hole if you have an underpass. So you immediately have to lift that water out of an underpass, pump it up, and then you have to redistribute that water. When you go overhead, you don't have that problem. You no longer have a hole in the ground created by the underpass. So in the simple picture, it's a less expensive method because of the fact that you're going over rather than under, creating this well.
Mhm. Correct, yeah, and then I should also, as the mayor mentioned, yeah, there's two other crossings in the area, which everyone is aware, not our jurisdiction, but I think that's why we're seeing so much cooperation early on. I think people are excited about potentially being able to remove those crossings and do something that's ultimately increasing safety. When you talk about quiet zones, it's really about safety. You have to make enough improvements for them to agree to go quiet, and this would eliminate two and also a third at Walker, if you look at it, because it'll be an overpass solution versus having a third crossing there. So yeah, definitely a complicated project, but I think we're off to a good start. So.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. Thanks, George. Does anyone have any questions? I know Clay is on, correct?
Yes, Mayor, I'm on. Thank you.
And Clay, appreciate your working with you so far on this. I know, there are potentially some grant, grants that are available. Obviously, anytime you have an overpass, this can be, an overall expensive project, but we would be looking for funding in order to pursue, next steps past this. So again, I know, George, we have something else on the agenda as well that will help subsidize this potentially. But I know, Clay, you've talked or have shared with George, or maybe George, you want to talk a little bit about potentially moving past, the engineering phase of how this could be funded.
Yeah, I'll kick it off, then maybe turn it over to you, Clay. Early on, even before entering to this agreement, we wanted to ensure that we weren't engineering a solution that could never get built. So that's one thing we wanted to make sure with the ICC, and they've come together with a letter that gives their support to the project, utilizing state funding. So that's a big chunk of it. But Clay, you want to go through and early stages of where you are with funding?
Sure, George. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me this evening. I appreciate it. We've looked at, we've submitted for an STP application to the local council of mayors. We've also submitted highway safety improvement program application with IDOT. I see a lot of promise there, and we'll see how that works out for us. We should know pretty soon on that one. We've also, like George and the mayor said, we received good news from the ICC and their funding of the project, which will be a huge help. That really gets us moving in the right direction with all the costs the project will see, including construction. And then we're going to really push hard for those discretionary grant programs that are out there. One of those grant programs is the CRISI program. It's a federally funded program that I see this project fits very well. And I think George will talk a little bit about some of the individuals that help us in that endeavor. There's also some other discretionary grant programs that we will pursue funding for. And that really is it in a nutshell. I believe there's also some opportunities with Cook County and some other locations as well, if we stay busy with this project.
Thanks, Clay. And again, for those of you who do not know of Knight Engineering, they were recommended by Congressman Lipinski, and it's gone very smooth with you, Clay, and Knight Engineering so far, and we look forward to moving to the next steps. And if the beginning is any like the second half, I think we're going to be happy about it. So again, appreciate the work you guys have done, and Knight Engineering has been first class as far as what we've dealt with so far.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Does anyone else have, any of the trustees have any questions or comments regarding this?
I think Rick has his hand up. Is that from before, Rick? I'm sorry. That was from before. I should mention this isn't the last time you'll see it, even before future phases. As part of phase one, there is a public input process Clay will manage. So there'll be plenty of opportunity for public comment and to get people involved on this complex project, but just need to get the ball moving.
Great. Okay, with that being said, thanks, George. Thanks, Clay. Can we have roll call, please?
Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Maher,
Yes.
McClafferty,
Yes.
Nagowski,
Yes.
Stapleton,
Yes.
Kittredge.
Yes.
Okay, motion approved.
The next item, if passed this evening, would be also a resolution R-32-20. And this is authorizing the approval of a consulting agreement with Ty Ginsburg and Associates Limited, Federal Advocacy Services.
Okay, need a motion.
So moved, Maher.
Second, Kittredge.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Maher, seconded by trustee Kittredge. George, you want to take this?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just related to the Walker project and some other higher ticket, bigger ticket items that the village is looking at implementing. It may be advantageous to bring on a consultant to help us out with advocacy services at the federal level. Well, all the grants that we just mentioned, the technical aspect of them are typically done by the engineer. The advocacy side of it, it's not uncommon to engage a specialist to help out with getting those written into statute and also just overall applying for those grants. And I think regardless of this Walker project is a really good one. We think we have many good leads. There's a lot of money out there at the federal level regarding railroad crossings, but there's also other big projects that we've looked at that we could include in that agreement. Ones we've talked about, the sanitary ship and canal overpass bridge, pedestrian bridge downtown on Stevens Street. The reality is even getting that project moving, it is going to be a couple $1 million, and we're going to need some federal grants to move that project to the next level. Other ones, the item canal restoration, which we talked about, we put that project into the agreement to help out with a larger scale restoration project. General water and sewer infrastructure. There's money at the federal level regarding replacement of older pipes, installation of new ones. The firm that we have the proposal in front of you guys here tonight helped us out with securing the federal grant that we talked about earlier today for Main Street. So we have plenty of old infrastructure that we could use help with, and also just other commuter rail service, other rail initiatives to include with this agreement. So agreement is a monthly agreement that goes for 1 year of $6,500 per month. Any other questions, I can field them, but I think I think it's worthwhile, especially with all the big projects that we have on our radar.
Thanks, George. And again, with the Forge opening up, Lamont being a recreation destination, we have waterways, ship and sanitary, I&M Canal. We have obviously roadways and a bike trail system. With the waterways, we need connectivity. These projects are big. We cannot fund them as a village. We do not have, obviously, the money to solely fund them. We need grants, and grants are the only way we're going to get all of this connectivity. Clay just mentioned on the specific project for Walker Road. But again, this is again, a means to working with other governmental agencies. We've learned with the state through working with other, consultant lobbyists per se, that if you have the quote unquote connections or the wherewithal, to work with these government agencies, you can get, the money and the things done. So that's just the way of the government world. And we have to be able to, in order to execute on these high dollar projects, they need to be funded. So with that being said, any other questions for George or comments on this? Okay, thanks, George. Roll call, please.
Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Maher,
Yes.
McClafferty,
Yes.
Nagowski,
Yes.
Stapleton,
Yes.
Kittredge.
Yes.
Okay, motion approved.
The next item is also a resolution that passed this evening. It is R-33-20. And this is a resolution of the Village of Lamont in Cook, Will, and DuPage County, Illinois, inducing certain expenditures of redevelopment project costs in connection with the redevelopment of the proposed Walker Road redevelopment project area to be reimbursed from the proceeds of the Walker Road Special Tax Allocation Fund.
Okay, need a motion, please.
So moved, McClafferty. Second, Maher.
Okay, motion by McClafferty, seconded by trustee Maher. George, are you going to take this one?
Yeah, I know that sounds like a mouthful, but really it's just a proactive measure to ensure any costs related with this project, the Walker Road project that we discussed, could be reimbursable in the future in the event the village would establish a TIF district. We actually looked at this area, and I'll pull the map up, last year when we were establishing our downtown TIF, the I&M Canal TIF, looked at a bunch of areas and whether or not they'd be, qualify for TIF or be eligible. Decided to wait on it until a project was a little bit more real. But this area could be TIFed in the future. We could have to go through all the process to do so. But in the event that we do, any costs that we're coming out of pocket for, we could reimburse ourselves out of a future TIF. More of a proactive measure. If we never establish a TIF, there's no harm in passing this resolution. So yeah, just have it. I want to thank our TIF council for putting that together pretty quickly.
All right, thanks, George. Does anyone have any questions or comments on this? Okay, roll call, please.
Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Maher,
Yes.
McClafferty,
Yes.
Nagowski,
Yes.
Stapleton,
Yes.
Kittredge.
Yes.
Okay, motion approved.
That's all I have this evening.
We might have added one on you, Charlene. One last one. VE.
Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped right over it. Okay. All right. This would be also a resolution this evening, and it would be R-34-20. And this is creating an intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Lamont and DuPage County for reimbursement of eligible COVID-19 expenses.
Okay, need a motion, please.
So move Stapleton.
Second, Maher.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Stapleton, seconded by trustee Maher. George, you want to take this?
Chris, did you have this one? Otherwise,
Okay, sure. So this is a resolution, DuPage, the counties, when COVID began, the counties received money through the CARES Act. And we're working right now with Cook County, and DuPage County actually sent us a resolution and an agreement for us to sign, and then we can try to seek reimbursable COVID expenses from them as well. We're working with Cook County. You'll see it probably in a month or two, another intergovernmental agreement to receive funds for them. And this is reimbursable COVID expenses. This is not, we have not received any word at all about reductions of revenue, but we are putting together all our COVID expenses. And we also, I just wanted to notify the board as well, we have received the agreement from FEMA as well. So we're going to be receiving reimbursable expenses from FEMA, and then from Cook County, and then possibly from DuPage County.
Chris, I think that last sentence died
Yeah,
out.
she might have. And actually, just to, we actually last year I think we lost our only residents in DuPage County. I think they disconnected up by Lamont Bank. So more than likely we won't receive anything from DuPage. But I think we want to thank DuPage for including us. And in the event that there is money available, we want to pass this agreement. All of our money should come through Cook County.
Yes.
And
FEMA.
That's all part of the FEMA. There's an application process. Again, not lost revenue, only direct expenses related to COVID. But we hope DuPage has money for us, but and more than likely not.
George, what's the latest on Cook County's methodology of reimbursing the expenses? Because DePage was on a per capita basis, obviously, I think all of our residents
So
are
they,
one moved
yeah,
out.
maybe Chris has more detail on it. They both did a per capita distribution, but they did it very differently. And just to our allotment, if we're able to prove up costs for Cook County, which is where we'll get our funding, I think it was 183,000. That's the max
Yep.
we could recover. You know, if you look at the way they did their calculation in DuPage County, if all of our residents were in DuPage, we would have received, I think, 880,000. Chris, is that right?
It was $51 per person, yes, versus
Yeah,
11.
versus like $20 a person or 17.
11.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, they use different methodology, and we could share that as we go along. Maybe when we pass the IGA for Cook County, we could share that. But definitely we would have been better off in DuPage County, but that's where we sit.
So what you're saying is most likely we're not going to get as much as if we were in another county.
We would have got 180,000 versus about 880,000.
Yeah. So it's amazing how that math always works out, especially in Cook County. Okay. So with that being said, does anyone have any questions for Chris on this? Okay, roll call, please.
Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Maher,
Yes.
McClafferty,
Yes.
Nagowski,
Yes.
Stapleton,
Yes.
Kittredge.
Yes.
Thank you. That is all that I have this evening.
Thanks, Charlene. Appreciate it. Okay, next up, attorney report. Mike, do you have anything for us?
Just briefly, Mr. Mayor, been a busy couple of weeks. You'll see most of what we've been working on at the next meeting. I've been working along with village administrator on various items regarding annexation, but we also have finalizing all the documents with the Forge, which I think George will be discussing in unfinished business. Other than that, have a good, hopefully everyone's doing well and having a good month. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. George, village administrator report.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And we didn't have to go through the phase 4 again, but I did have that in there we'll have that on our website on the, Mayor, you mentioned that the regions were carved out a little bit differently, and you could see we are in 10 with suburban Cook, and Chicago is number 11. So, but we'll keep an eye on that. Hopefully we don't move back a phase, but there have been discussions on other regions moving back. But I think we've covered that, and we'll continue next meeting. On the quick item, and I think I mentioned it last time, but I'll kind of reset going forward. We're going to continue with our meetings in virtually, at least for the short period here. There wasn't an updated executive order. I think Chief Mayton's going to go through briefly. As long as we're complying with the rules, we'll continue to operate remotely. We had at our cow meeting last Monday, I think we had close to 40, 45, 46 people on. So right there in our small village boardroom, I think it would have been difficult to have that meeting. But no, we'll continue to do it virtually. August 5th, we have another planning and zoning commission meeting. That'll be posted here shortly. And then August 10, 17, 24, and then again in September, we have our full allotment of board meetings. And again, we'll update everybody if we do it in a different manner, but we'll continue doing it virtually. And we've complied with all provisions of the recently passed House bill and the governor's orders. I am here at Village Hall, and we've complied with all the other requirements of having a meeting. I will just make mention again, we're still working out some kinks, but if you get a chance, please visit our website. It looks, I think it looks really good. We're still moving some things around. You'll notice there's a video on the front, but the more useful, I guess, part of it is these main feature buttons. And again, I had a couple questions about not being able to find our agenda. If you go on our webpage, meetings and minutes, that's where all the agendas are at, past and also going forward. We have feature buttons for online bill pay. Open government's a good one if you get a chance. All of our audits, budgets. We also have a link to Open Checkbook, which is really neat. I think you're able to see every, and thanks, Chris, for getting that together with ClearGov, one of our partners. Almost in real time, you can view every bill approved by the board, and you can go back in there and print it off if you want, look at everything that the village is spending. It's completely transparent. There's also other information in open government, permit request, report of concern. So yeah, just have it. If you have an opportunity, go on our website. If you can't find something, please notify Village Hall and we'll try to let you know where it is or update the site. And with that, also sign up for our Stay Informed feature. Just any information regarding board meetings, community news, public safety, economic development. Any way we can communicate with the residents. If you're having trouble, you can give us a call. And I also, I do have an item under unfinished business, but I'll save that and maybe kind of turn it over to staff. I think Chief Mayton had a question.
I didn't have a question. You want me to give the report?
If you want to go through, I might have skipped through the board. I'll go board report. Sorry about that. Board report first, Mayor.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem. Does anyone have any, anyone on the board have any reports at all? If not, go ahead, Chief.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Real quickly, wanted to mention a couple things. Like George said, the governor signed a new executive order on Friday, which extends the Restore Illinois plan through August 22nd. So all the we are continue to be in phase 4. The phase guidelines have kind of been replaced by these new tier guidelines for movement backwards. Like one of you mentioned earlier, we're in an area of suburban Cook County. We still have a fairly low positivity rate, and I don't anticipate that will be changing anytime soon. The one thing I want to mention again, though, is the governor's intent to slow the spread of the virus is contingent a lot on the wearing of masks when you're inside and when you're out in public and you can't employ the social distancing. So please, people should have masks with them and use them. People breathe in and out through their nose. So if you have it over your mouth, your mask is not effective and you might as well not have one on. So please wear the mask properly. Switching gears a little bit, we have been getting a lot of complaints on speeding on the side streets in the residential neighborhoods. We typically do during this time of the year when the people are outside a little more and kids are playing. So I'd urge everybody to watch their speeds as they're traveling through the towns. We have been doing some speed details and some speed assessments in some different areas, but we really rely on voluntary compliance for people to watch what they're doing. If you think about it, if you're driving a mile or two around town and you reduce your speed on the side streets from 30 to 20, you're literally talking about saving yourself, seconds of time to get to your destination. So there's really no point to be driving fast on our side streets. So no, please slow down. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, Chief. Any other, Ralph or Chris, any other staff reports?
Not this evening, Mayor.
All right, thanks. And thanks, Chief. All right. Next up, any unfinished or new business?
I did have one item, and Mike had mentioned last meeting we had on the agenda a maintenance agreement with the Forge regarding the north side of the I&M Canal for the opener of their operation. And we intended to have it on tonight, but we just received comments back from the Forge on that agreement that we've been going back and forth on late last week. So didn't have an opportunity to get it on tonight. So it's our recommendation to extend that motion. And Mike, what would be we can field questions. What would be the best way to do that? It's already been on the agenda and we need to hold it till next meeting, correct?
I would just recommend, just to make sure on a time wise, we just do a motion to table it indefinitely. And if it's done as we expected, the next meeting, we'll just take it off the table.
Hey, George, on this, I think last time we spoke, and maybe I'm mixing things here, but were we not granting temporary occupancy somewhat contingent upon getting this agreement executed?
Yeah, and that's correct, Mr. Mayor. That's what will extend until the next board meeting or until the agreement is finalized. What we've done, we've talked about this ad nauseum. I mean, we've had disagreements with the township on who should be involved in the agreement and to what level. But at the end of the day, we got to move it forward. The forge is already open. They're doing great. It's been successful. No issues. I mean, police, public works haven't really had any issues. We just need to finalize this agreement. So we're going to be moving forward as probably an addendum to our existing license agreement that will address
Correct.
maintenance standards for the area. So, I think that's the way we're going to handle it. So we did change course a little bit there, but it'll get done by next board meeting.
Okay, great.
We have to vote on that or make a motion to table it?
Yes, I would make a motion to table it and also extend the temporary occupancy as well indefinitely.
I'll make a motion to extend the maintenance agreement till the August meeting.
Second, Snagowski.
Okay, do we need a roll call on that or just
Yes.
go ahead, Charlene?
Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Maher,
Yes.
McClafferty,
Yes.
Snagowski,
Yes.
Stapleton,
Yes.
Kittredge.
Yes.
Okay, motion approved. Do we need to do anything? Do we need a motion, Mike, for the extension of temporary occupancy?
I believe it's covered in the motion and based on the records or based on the minutes. I think you're fine.
Okay, great. All right, so no more new business or unfinished business. Next up is our audience participation. George, you want to handle this, please?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the point of the meeting where the audience can participate. We offer up many opportunities. We did not receive any emails or letters prior to the meeting. So this is an opportunity, and you can see my screen if you haven't been on here before. I'm sure you're tired of seeing this, but you get an opportunity at the bottom of your screen, manage participation or participants. You can see your name and then click raise hand, and same rules apply as if you're in person. You'll have 3 minutes to speak to address the board. I will pull up the participants. All right, I do not see any, Mr. Mayor. I think you can move forward.
Okay, thanks, George. All right, next up is executive session, which we will be going into. Mike, let me know if I need to add anything else, but I need a motion to go into executive session to discuss under Chapter 5 ILCS of the Open Meetings Act 120. We're going to be discussing real estate, setting price for sale or lease, which is 2C6. If I got that right, Mike, or wrong,
You do.
let me know. Okay, all right. With that being said, I need a motion, please.
Hey, Mayor, the other quick one that we talked about earlier today, I just added on, but you'll also ask for one for 2C11.
Okay, and also 2C11 will include in the motion. So I need a motion, please.
So move Stapleton.
Second, Maher.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Stapleton, seconded by trustee Maher. Charlene, can we have a roll call, please, on that?
Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Maher,
Yes.
McClafferty,
Yes.
Snagowski,
Yes.
Stapleton,
Yes.
Kittredge.
Yes.
Okay, motion approved. And after the executive session, we will be having nothing to discuss after it. No decisions will be made. So with that being said, I need a motion to close and go into executive session, please.
So moved, McClafferty.
Second, Snagowski.
Okay. With that being, all right, so we've had our motion, correct? So, or have we had a roll call? Do we
Not on
need
the
a roll-
executive session. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Kwasniewski.
Yes.
Okay. Maher.
Yes.
Let's see, McClafferty,
Yes.
Zagowski,
Yes.
Stapleton,
Yes.
Kittredge.
Yes.
Okay, motion approved. We are done with the public section.